How's it in aloha? Is your Burpee Yoga Uncle. This is going to be a rant about why certain countries' food is more popular than other countries. And your uncle is ONC now. This is only my theory, so here we go. Fitness, foodies, and the fabulous absurd. From burpees to Camus, you're never gonna know what you're gonna get from your Burpee Yoga Uncle. So your uncle has two things that I love to do. One, I love the burpees, and two, I love to eat. So my motto is basically I burpee to eat and I eat to burpee. So invariably, through the course of my life, I always love to try different foods, right? And I've actually documented a lot of that since I started the YouTube channel. I've tasted many different ethnicities' food, from Ethiopian to South American to Egyptian. I mean, everything. I tried every kind of food, and it dawned on me why are certain food from certain countries so popular all around the world, while some other food that is good, obviously good in their country, and not popular at all, right? So when I was growing up in Hawaii, the popular food obviously was Japanese food, right? Japanese food was everywhere, right? There was virtually no Korean food, no Spanish food, nothing at all, because it didn't reach Hawaii yet, right? But Japanese food, it was a humongous thing, right? And a little bit of Filipino food, but not as much. And then what happened is, moving to the States, you can try all different kind of food. But as I travel around the country, I realized that there were less Japanese restaurants and all of a sudden way more Korean restaurants. Could it be because of demographics? Could it be because there's more Koreans moving in or something like that? Or could it be because there's something to do with the food itself? Okay, now don't get me wrong when I say a certain country's food is not popular, that your food sucks. I am not saying that at all. What I'm saying is there's a reason why a certain country's food is appealing to a masses of people all around the world versus just that particular country. And then while some other country's food is only appealing to that particular country. That's what I'm trying to say, right? I'm not telling you that, this country A's food is better than the country B's food. I'm just saying why the appeal is there. All right, let's start with Mexican food, right? Why is Mexican food so much more popular than Guatemalan food or El Salvador food or any of the South American foods that is out there? Why aren't there tons of restaurants that's serving El Salvadorian food or other South American food? I don't know. It's only Mexican, right? So if you go and try the different foods in those regions, what you're going to find is, number one, they're very similar to Mexican food because they all come from, I guess, Spanish influenced cultures and the kind of food that they can gather. And again, I'm old and senile. Please drop a comment and let me know if I'm wrong or right? But what I found out by eating other quote-unquote South American food is they do have a little bit of a subtle different flavor than the Mexican food, but the flavor, the umami flavor, is just not as intense. I don't know how to explain it until you try it, because once you eat South American food from different regions besides Mexico, you're gonna go, oh, that tastes good. It tastes kind of like blah blah blah, some Mexican food, right? They might mix it with different spices or whatnot, but in general, it's a similar spices. And then, but the thing is with the Mexican food, the tastes are so bold, and it's just when you tried it and you eat other countries' food, you end up as a non-South American, you end up just going toward the Mexican food. And it's the same thing for Asian food, right? So, and similar, if you look at the popularity of Vietnamese food, Thai food, how popular it is all around the world. No matter where you go, there's Vietnamese food and Thai food. But what about Laos food? What about Burmese food? I mean, they're in the same region in the countries too, right? But how come you don't hear anything about their food? And then if you try their food, you're gonna realize that it's very similar. A lot of their food, some they have some unique dishes, but a lot of their food is very similar to Thai and Vietnamese food. The only difference between Vietnamese and Thai food in general is the heat. They almost use virtually the same type of spices and aromatics, the main thing being the fish sauce. The only big difference in terms of roots that they use is Vietnamese don't use a lot of lemongrass, where Thai kind of use a lot more lemongrass. And then Vietnamese do use lemongrass, but not as much as Thai. And then Thai use other type of ingredients. But in general, again, those two food, the Vietnamese and the Thai food, their flavors are very bold, and then they grab you once you eat them, right? If you eat Lao food or if you eat Burmese food, it's similar, but it doesn't grab you. And that's the reason why they're not as popular. It's a certain part of the country, like I know Lao is very big in Dallas, Fort Worth area, so there's a lot of Lao restaurants, but it'd be tough for you to find a lot of Lao restaurants everywhere. Same with Burmese restaurants, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, am I saying their food suck? No. They have some very unique dishes. But in general, if you're just a person trying different food and you try a typical Vietnamese dish and a typical Thai dish and a typical Lao dish and a typical Burmese dish, you're gonna kind of forget the Lao and the Burmese dish and gravitate towards the Thai and Vietnamese dish. Same thing with Japanese and Korean food, right? Japanese was very popular when the Koreans came on. Same thing, bold flavors. The Japanese likes the beauty and the essence of the food itself, whether it's sashimi or whatever it is they cook, udon, whatever, right? They care about that, and then they have the flavor that enhances the main ingredients. Where the Koreans have that too, but their accent to their food, which is mostly a lot of garlic, a lot of peppers, a lot of what is that called? Syrup. So their world is in the world of sweet and spicy. And who doesn't like sweet and spicy? If you look at the section in the Korean market, go to the grocery store and check out the section where they sell all the syrups that the Korean uses. And then now you go to a Japanese market and look at all the syrups that they sell and compare it to the Chinese or other. I mean, Korean has the most syrup that I've ever seen. Now, am I saying that that's no good? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's how they cook. And the way they cook leads to the food that for a general human in the world, whether that's not Korean, they just like it more than Japanese food. And so that's how the capitalism work, right? So you open up a Japanese restaurant, it serves this many customers. You open up a Korean restaurant, there's more. So they can see it. It seems like Korean food is more popular, so they open more Korean restaurants, right? And that's how the whole world works. And now going back to where I'm from, Hawaii, right? Hawaiian food is an amalgamation of all different type of food, mostly Asian food, mostly Chinese/Japanese food, a little bit of Filipino, but mostly Chinese, Japanese, and mixed with mix all together, right? Ham and jang all together. And then, so one of the biggest chain in the USA is L&L Barbecue, what they call Hawaiian barbecue. I'm pretty sure there's one very close to where you live, a quote-unquote Hawaiian style barbecue restaurant, you know. And the main difference between Hawaiian style barbecue versus let's say American barbecue, it's soy sauce based, it's on the sweet side, there's not a big bite to it, but it's basically soy sauce and sweetness, right? And barbecue char flavor. And then they might add stuff like pineapple or whatnot, but that's the basic thing between Hawaiian barbecue and American barbecue. But no, there's other islands that have food that is very good too, like the Guam people, right? The Chamorros, right? They have their own version of barbecue. But then, I mean, how many Chamorro or Guamanian restaurant is there in the USA? 10 maybe, not even. But within your area, there could be 10 L&L within your city. Because why isn't the Chamorro food more popular? Is it because it's not known? It's still barbecue, it's still island barbecue, but it's just because their flavor is different. They're not saying that Hawaiian barbecues are better. Again, don't get me wrong, but it's just the flavor for Guam food and Chamorro food is just not as palatable to the masses as the Hawaiian barbecue. I'm not saying better, I'm just saying in general. And you don't have to take my word for it. It's just how many restaurants there are. Because if it was popular, I guarantee you, there'll be non-Chamorros opening up Chamorro or Guamanian restaurants. Right? Same with Japanese, same Hawaiian restaurants, right? Many Hawaiian barbecue restaurants are not owned by Hawaiians. They're mostly owned by Chinese or Asians. Go figure. Or Filipinos, right? Why? Because they can make money from it. And why? Because not because they don't like Guam food, they think it sucks. It's because the customers are coming in wanting to eat Hawaiian food, and there's not enough customers coming in trying to eat Guam food, right? Same thing with Samoan food, right? Samoan and Tongan food, right? You've even heard of that? How many restaurants is there that sells like real Samoan and Tongan food, right? I mean, have you ever heard of palusami? Or like how often do you eat turkey tail? And that's a national dish in Samoa, and like you never find it anywhere. Is it because it's no good? No, man. It tastes super delicious, man. In fact, that's one of the secret ingredients in Lao Laos, right? But I digress. What I'm trying to say is there's a lot of great food on the planet, but only certain countries' food is like global, where no matter where you go, you're gonna find it. Like one of the first global kind of food was Chinese food, right? No matter where you go, you're gonna find a Chinese restaurant. It's probably called Great Wall or May's Kitchen or something Great China, whatever it's called. I don't know. There's always a Chinese restaurant no matter where you go, right? That was kind of a joke. No matter if you go to the highest mountaintop in the planet, there's a Chinese restaurant. And then soon, it seems like it'll be for Mexican, for tacos, or for Mexican food, because that seems like that's the second global thing that's everywhere, right? Thai food too. And then there's, to name some. I've been to Spain, and they say it's one of the best foodie cities in the world, Barcelona. And I find the food okay. Maybe I went to the wrong places, but kind of lacking. But I go back to my theory, right? If Spanish food was that great, If Spanish food was that great, how come there are not more Spanish restaurants, but more Mexican restaurants? I mean, Mexican's basically Spanish food, but Mexican infused, right? But how come there's not many Spanish restaurants? How come there's not many nowadays, like even French restaurants or Italian restaurants, right? In fact, French restaurants, Italian restaurants are more prevalent than Spanish restaurants where they serve tapas. Why is that? If it's such a international foodie for Spanish food, why aren't there more Spanish restaurants? Because it is what it is. Globally, the Spanish food relies on the food, the main food, whether it's seafood, the pheasants, whatever they serve as the fresh, and it's just for the rest of the world, it's not as palatable. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not saying that Barcelona, when I was there, the food is no good. I'm not saying that at all. And plus, I'm a minority, right? I'm talking about globally. When you look at the world, how many Spanish restaurants there are compared to Mexican restaurants or Italian restaurants, and it is what it is. Because if somebody can make money serving Spanish food, you don't think they would? Well, where are they? That's kind of how, as they say, you follow the money. You're always trying to follow the money where it goes. And you understand, same thing in the food business, right? The country, the food, you follow the money. If that country's food is any good, somebody's going to make money by opening those restaurants. And they gotta have faith that when they open up a restaurant with that country's kind of food, that's going to appeal to a lot of people, not just that country's people, but a lot of people that's not from that country, but they might like the food. And that's kind of how it works, right? It's business, right? It's not because, you're only eating there because you're loyal to the country. You're eating there because you got good food. And, that's kind of my rant. And then if you're down really this far, almost 15 minutes of listening to me rant, then number one, God help you. Number two, this is only one take. I did not do a second take. I didn't think it was going to take me that long to explain my theory of why certain countries' food is more popular than other countries. I'm not dissing other countries' food. I'm just saying that it's a fact, man. People vote with their palate and their wallet, and some countries' food, they will pay for it. And other countries' food, they'll try it once, maybe they'll try it twice, and they go out, I'm good, not having this kind of food. When my friend asked me, hey, you want to go and try this country's food, and I've had it before, and I would say, you know what, I'm not interested. But you know what? I want to go to this restaurant that serves this other country's food. That's how the world works, right? So please, if you're, again, down this far, please leave a comment below. I'm eating my leftover here from many different countries. If you're down this far, I'll explain to you. On the lower right is lamb. That's kind of like a European made with basils and with thyme and rosemary. And in the middle is basically finadeni from Guam. On the left is basically a Chinese dish. Basically, it's fermented oysters. It's kind of like a New Year's dish. And above that is kind of like a Chinese soup. In the middle is roast duck with noodles and bok choy. So it's all over the planet. I love to eat all different kind of food. I hope you do too. And may the food forces be with you. There's no right or wrong. Every country's food has its great and its not so great. And the main thing is, make your mouth and your stomach be happy. Everything else doesn't really matter. All right, bless up.